Welcome to NextLabs Expert Q&A Series. This series was designed to inform you of relevant cybersecurity topics via expert knowledge.
Welcome back to the NextLabs Cybersecurity Expert Series. In this episode, we have our guest Dave Mayer, Managing Director of Advanced Assessments at Neuvik, joining us to discuss common issues with cloud security. Now, Dave will introduce himself before we move into the Q&A.
My name is Dave Mayer. I'm the Managing Director of Advanced Assessments here at Neuvik, leading our team that does technical penetration testing, red teaming, cloud security assessments, anything on the offensive side. I've been in the offensive space now for just over a decade or so. Started out working for a healthcare system, doing a little bit of everything security related, and started to get into offensive security and penetration testing. From there, I went and joined Citibank and was on the red team there, doing some of the red team exercises, as well as a lot of in-house penetration testing there, and then moved over to the consulting world and founded Neuvik with Ryan about 4 years ago.
Thank you for the introduction, Dave. To kick things off, why do you think cloud security has become such a critical topic? And what makes it especially important for organizations to pay attention to?
Cloud security has become such a critical topic because the usage of cloud resources has only grown. It's gone up to about 330 billion or so in 2024 and is just growing at this point because companies are able to quickly adopt and start using the platforms without having to go and invest in infrastructure. It's also been extremely easy to go and start migrating services, spin resources up, spin them down, being able to rebuild from scratch. But going and spinning things up, doing it easily at that point, it doesn't always mean that it's going to be secure. While things are starting to trend in the right direction for secure by default for many years and still many instances, things are insecure by default, even going and using built-in settings that are there in the cloud organization or cloud platform that you're using at that point. That could end up exposing some of your data that might be out there if you don't end up going and locking things down properly.
That's a great perspective, especially given how fast cloud adoption is accelerating across industries. What are some of the most common vulnerabilities you are seeing in the cloud security space?
The majority of vulnerabilities coming across out there are many times just misconfigurations, going and configuring something inadvertently, say allowing too many people access to a resource, might be due to misunderstandings of how things are set up or configured, but going and allowing access like that. One example, if you give access in AWS to the root of another account, at that point, you're actually giving access to everybody else in the other account, while many people think that you're just giving access to the root account in that other AWS account. So things like that end up being misconfigurations or misunderstandings that end up allowing for a lot of that access inadvertently to happen. Some of the other issues are just down similar paths with things like access control problems. Many times, a lot of organizations use built-in groups, whether in AWS, Azure, GCP, that have a set of permissions associated with them that end up giving out way too many permissions to the users that have those roles then assigned to them or that group of permissions. So they end up getting way too much access to a number of resources, the ability to potentially go and create resources as well. And then being able to go and start accessing other items within the account that they might not need to have access to. Perhaps it's another team at that point. I've also seen where, say, billing accounts, where billing is done from one account is granted full access over another account. So your person responsible for billing in that case could go and start shutting down resources or modifying them as well. Really following the principle of least privilege for this, going and building out your own custom roles at that point that actually match the exact permissions that you need to use so that you don't end up giving away excessive permissions to a lot of your users at that point, and then can really lock down the environment and secure it.
It's eye-opening to hear how widespread those issues still are. So, when those vulnerabilities go unaddressed, what's really at stake? Can you walk us through what's at risk for companies?
So with this, typically the vulnerabilities and misconfigurations end up allowing access to sensitive data. And this can take its form in a number of different ways at that point. And many times it's not realized by those that are doing it what they've actually gone and done. Some things that found while doing research around cloud security are credentials for, say, Azure at this point, going and getting access to certificates and some API keys to be able to go and start interacting with various services out there. Come across this with, say, Azure credentials, being able to go and get access to a key vault because there was a blob that ended up being wide open, allowing anyone to come in and download any of the files that were there, then allowed pivoting into other areas of the Azure cloud in that case. And this was one Microsoft, even one of their internal teams, that inadvertently left a blob open and allowed for the compromise of that data. Many other times, a lot of things that are out there, virtual hard drive files, whether it's going to be a VMX file or a VHD file, might be from VMware. You might have Azure VM files as well as Hyper-V files that are out there. Can go and mount those, have found those for, say, domain controllers that are just getting backed up on a nightly basis to an open bucket or blob. You can go and pull those down and then extract out all the user accounts and then the credentials associated with them for those. A lot of backup files for databases are out there, so you can go and restore a database and recover all of the data that's sitting there. Have also found out there some administrative guides for even classified networks that ended up allowing access or potentially could allow access at that point into some of those areas that were just sitting on an open bucket or blob. And it really just comes back to leaving things open by default. Uh, Also, with that, many times can end up leaking out data as a result of that. Have found code signing certificates as well that could then go and get abused that way to go and start signing malware, going and getting access to databases. Found PHI out there for a number of patients. It really is endless. And depending on the overall impact down the road, it could end up to a lot of reputational damage for an organization, financial losses, or even fines at that point as well.
That really highlights how high the stakes can be, especially when sensitive data or operations are involved. From your experience, what are some of the most effective steps organizations can take to protect themselves in the cloud?
I think some of the most effective steps organizations could take is first starting to plan out their build out before they actually start doing it. So go and plan what you're going to build and put together. Be able to put around all the controls at that point that you need to have to be able to properly safeguard that data. Don't rely on being something to be secure by default, because it's not anymore going to be secure by default. It's going to be a certain level of hardened, but probably not what's needed. So going and building out your custom roles and permissions, going to map out to exactly what is needed, going and locking things down from even a network connection perspective. Maybe you have a lot of systems running in the cloud. Maybe they do need to access resources outside of that VPS or virtual network. Maybe they don't. Go and lock that down appropriately at that point, especially if you have web applications that are on the front end and then you have private networks on the back end that they're going and interacting with. You really want to go and lock those things down so that if there ever is, say, a 0-day against the front end, you can go and protect the back end as well there. So also recommend going through and checking your cloud environments on a regular basis. Make sure that something wasn't inadvertently changed or locked down. You can also put on guardrails on your deployments at that point of going and blocking a lot of the insecure settings that might be out there so that they can't actually be used at that point. But it's going to take that upfront investment of time to be able to go and do that as well. And then even as you do go and start, say, shifting left more, going DevSecOps, going and deploying things as needed at that point, and starting to build security into that at the beginning versus trying to bake it on afterwards. Going to be a lot more effective if you think about it up front.
That's really practical advice, things organizations can act on immediately. Before we wrap up, are there any final thoughts or key takeaways you want to highlight on the topic of cloud security?
I think some of the best things to do to really prevent it is plan ahead of time. Go and spend the time and investment on that upfront portion to go and take a look at your environment, plan to harden it appropriately, be able to implement that security. It's going to be a lot cheaper to go and do that upfront than it will be to go and actually have to respond to a breach, especially if you're going to have to go and start providing identity monitoring for people if they have their data compromised, as well as the reputational and financial impacts that might occur as a result as well. So it can really save you a lot to put that time and effort up front. I think the other thing that can help out quite a bit, and this is something I have run into going and finding a lot of sensitive data out there, is go and designate who a point of contact should be to go and report security issues to your organization. Many companies do have this, but even more do not have this. And many times I've spent sometimes up to weeks or even months trying to find the proper contact at an organization to be able to report something that they're leaking at that point so that they can take care of it. So if you're able to get that out there quicker and easier so that you can know who to go and reach out to, be able to contact, it'll make reporting these vulnerabilities a lot easier as well.
Thank you so much for joining us, Dave. It's been a pleasure having you join the conversation and share your expertise. And with that, we come to the end of this episode. Thank you very much for watching and stay tuned to the next episode where we will have more insights from a new expert.